Hey everyone, today we're going to learn how to make a contact sheet in the darkroom. First things first, when you're out in the middle room, in the back of the middle room there is a bin, one of those tan bins that says sleeves on them, negative sleeves. One of these plastic sheets that kind of looks like a sheet protector. It has rows for your different pieces of your negatives that you need to chop up carefully without slicing and be over any frames, and then insert into each row. Typically it can fit about five images per row. But sometimes you can move things down if maybe they don't fit properly. So this is what you need before you even come in the darkroom. You of course also need your photo paper folder. I don't have one, but you should have one. Your photo paper folder, you can't go in the darkroom without it. So first things first, when you come into the darkroom, you need to cut up some paper after putting your stuff down at the station. When you come over the cutter, obviously the lights are out, but I am having the lights on so that you can see this. We should have two pieces of paper. You need a large one for your entire contact sheet, and you need another one to chop up into these. What are these used for again? To make test strips. We always use test strips first before using big, nice paper, okay? Let's take a look over here to see what we're shooting for today. By the time we're done with this, in order to get a successful contact sheet, we need to make two test strips. Your first test strip happens with your mat board underneath your enlarger, so that you should be able to see at 2-second intervals what 2 seconds looks like, 4, 6, 8 seconds, and 10 seconds. And then you can judge and figure out what amount of time looks best. Now, I felt like the longest amount of time looked best. So that was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 seconds to me had the best amount of contrast. Now that I stand here and look at it, I could have gone a little longer. It is a little gray, but there are some dark tones. So then what I did was I made a whole test strip at 10 seconds. The entire strip was exposed for 10 seconds under my enlarger. And then I did the entire contact sheet at 10 seconds. As you can see, most of the shots turned out good. Some of them are a little too light, some of them are a little too dark, but that's okay. That's how it goes with the contact sheet, because every single image, every frame was shot at a different exposure type, so we're going to have different types of images. But we do overall want to try to capture most of them. If you notice that your sheet turns out a little too gray or really dark, that means we need to try another test strip to see if there's a better time. Okay? So let's take a look to see how this is done at the enlarger. Okay, so here we are at our enlarger. As before, it's been a little while, so maybe you forgot. You remember we turn on the timer by pressing the switch at the top. We're going to start with 2-second intervals. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my dial to get 2.0, 2-second intervals. And then, of course, we turn off the annoying tone. Okay? So, first things first, I don't have any photo paper out. I've already put it inside my drawer. That's there. I have my piece of cardboard out. I have my glass easel out. Those are the only things that I'm going to need today. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn on my enlarger by pressing the outlet focus on and check things out. As you can remember, we need to make sure that we turn the knob at the top to make sure it's really focused. You of course want your enlarger station covered with as much light as possible. I even made it even bigger so that I don't run the risk of accidentally exposing only half of my sheet because the light didn't cover the whole station. We want this whole thing covered with light. So make sure that there's more than enough light covering your entire glass easel so we're not guessing later. The other thing is I have my negatives, okay? So to start, I'm going to turn off my light by pressing the outlet time so I know that I'm good to go. But before I do that, there was one last little thing. You always got to check the aperture. I'm reaching up top. I always turn it all the way to the brightest. And then I go, how many clicks in? 1, 2, 3 clicks in at f8. And that's usually the perfect amount of time or light coming in through our aperture. So now I turn off my outlet button. Okay, so I'm going to get out a test strip. And I'm checking that it's shiny side up. I'm putting this underneath my negatives, okay? So it's running across my entire negative sheet, right down the middle, so that it's going to be underneath a good chunk of different pictures. Not the whole thing, just a strip, okay? Then I carefully put my glass over top so it doesn't move around, okay? here we go. I've got my mat board. I'm going down to the first row, press my button to do my test strip, move it over down to the next row, down to the third row, fourth row, and then I remove it for the last one and press it one last time. That will be my shortest amount of time, my 2-second exposure. Then we carefully take it out and bring it over to the developer. Okay, it happens really nice and quickly. You'll be able to see right away which amount of time really looks best for your contact sheet. For this one, what amount of time do we think is best? 2, 4, 6, 8, or 10? I think 10 looks a little too dark, 2 is too light. 6 is still a little blown out. 8 looks okay. That is a dark image. I could do 7 right in between the two of them, but I feel like 8's gonna work for this one. So let's try 8. So now, before doing my whole sheet of paper, just to be completely certain about this decision, I'm going to go ahead and do one more strip, put it underneath my negatives, turning the dial all the way up to 8, press the button, okay, let's see what happened. All right, this is looking really good. There's some images that are light, there's some that are dark. Obviously, it's not going to be the same for all. All right, so now I have my large piece of paper. I'm ready to go. I know I need 8 seconds. Shiny side up once again. I'm going to carefully put it in the middle of my glass easel, lay my entire sheet right over top, and try to center it so it's not crooked. And then carefully put the glass back over top so it doesn't move. And now I'm going to go ahead, check my time that it's right, and do the entire exposure for 8 seconds. And that's going to give me a really great contact sheet. The end.